What's going on, everybody? Well, so I don't know if you've seen the pictures yet, but we're actually taking a look at the enclosure that we had ordered from First Strike Reptiles out of Canada, and I'll take a couple of different videos at different times while I put this together. But so far, can't really complain. Box came, it was heavy, but as you can see, there's foam here just protecting the edges, and so far there's been no issues. I'm gonna go ahead, continue on, and I'll be posting recording updates as I go along. So until the next one. All right, so I got one piece off so I could actually see what's inside here. So this is part that I find absolutely amusing, on the simple fact that I ordered 2 shelves to go with this, so that the snake that's going to be going in here, I'm keeping that kind of a hush on who's going into this, but they have 2 ledges that they could go on, one hot, one cold. And on the website, when I ordered it, it tells you the size. Well, I knew the size, but for some reason I did not calculate just how big the shelves were actually going to be once I got them here. And I'm not going to complain, they're a lot bigger than what I expected or was expecting, but I mean, that's pretty nice. Like I said, did not intend for to be that big. I knew that they were going to be larger. I just didn't anticipate them being this large. I believe these are the hardware and this nifty little tool. But yeah, wanted to share that with you guys. That's definitely gonna make it into the video. I'm gonna laugh, but in the meantime, I'm gonna try and figure out what's what exactly here. So this is something I just noticed. Actually, let me go over here. Is they do have the pilot holes, as you can see there, and you can see here. But so far on the edges, I don't see any pilot holes. So if you end up getting one of these, just make sure you take it slow. You don't want to blow out any of the edges or anything, and you don't want to overdo it. And the other thing is that they are not countersunk, so when you do tighten them up, just be super careful. You can go down a little bit, but I wouldn't go too far. Don't sit there and torque at it. All right, so here we are. I've already got the front ready to go. I had to attach the door and all of that, but I wanted to set the top on here in order to get an idea of where I'm going to place the panel, because what I'm going to do is, depending on where I place the panel here, up here, sorry, I'm going to not do a notch here for the cords to be able to go through. So the probe, the power cord for the heat panel, and the UVB. The benefit to doing this, yes, it is a little bit more work, but I'm not drilling massive holes through the back, and I'm able to just run a small notch just big enough and far enough down that the cords can fit through. And then like I said, there'll be no massive holes. For those that aren't familiar with the Reptarad, is the power cord comes in 2 pieces where you connect it. So if I had to pull it out from here, I can just disconnect the power cord and pull it out. Downside is it wouldn't necessarily be a quick and easy, but it is a little bit more work, but I'm okay with that to make life a little bit easier and to make it a little bit cleaner looking. The other thing is the top was the last piece that I grabbed, and if you remember, I said that the packaging just protected the edges, so all my edges are nice. However, I've got these in the top of the enclosure. There's a couple other places. It is a little bit disappointing, but it's not going to affect the function of this. I mean, it's pretty thick, kind of solid feeling. It is PVC, so having weight on this will be rather interesting. It will heat up, hopefully, because these kick off a lot of heat, especially on the backside. I don't necessarily like Reptirad, even though I do own a few of these now. I do prefer the Vivarium electronics because it does have that heat guard, so if the snake does touch it, it's okay. I know if I put my hand up on the panel just by accidentally bumping it, I'm not going to burn myself. These things get pretty hot. I don't really care for it. I mean, my opinion is if you wouldn't put it with a dog or a baby and feel comfortable and safe with it, why are you going to give it to the snakes? The biggest thing I get is, well, as long as they aren't in an area where they could get stuck on it, it won't burn them. They can move and get away from it. I know I've bumped these on accident and it left a red mark on my hand, and it was like, ow, that hurt. But it is what it is. It was when I started buying the Reptirad, it was difficult to get the Vivariums. But it looks like they might be coming back. I'm not 100% sure. Hopefully they do. But this is what I spent money on already, so this is what I'll be using. But I'm gonna figure out where I want it up here and go from there. All right, I want to make a quick correction as I actually pulled this out of the box. For some reason, I thought that this would actually, I don't know, for some reason I remember my other one having my other two having a disconnect. This one actually is solid. The one, I don't know why, but the solid cable for the 125 Reptirad. I don't know if they're all like that, but I'll actually go and look at my others and see if I'm just remembering wrong, but I could have sworn there was a disconnect where you could plug these in together and pull them out. But I want to call it the end of the day. Kind of want to spend some time with the wife, but I've got the front on. I've got it notched right here. I kind of rushed it, so I took a little bit of a chip out, and there's not exactly straight, but it's okay. Doesn't worry me. I've got the panel mounted on here, and honestly right now it's like, I understand there is a difference between a budget enclosure and a top quality enclosure like cages or black box. Unfortunately, I've got to be able to provide the best environment and best quality that I can to give my reptiles a quality of life and to give them the happiest life that I possibly can. That is my responsibility by taking them into my home. However, as of right now, I don't want to say anything bad about First Strike, but it's definitely obvious that this is a budget enclosure. It is a 4x2x2, but there's just some things that I wish they would have taken a little bit more time on. As you can see right here, this is the latch for the hinged door, and there's quite a bit of room between the enclosure wall and the hinge, so that could potentially be a problem. So I'm gonna have to figure something out, whether I get a piece of foam or something and glue it onto here, like Gorilla Glue or something. The other thing is they got, the biggest thing is that they got pilot holes so you can see where screws are supposed to go, but the sides that they're supposed to go into, there's absolutely nothing. If you've done carpentry before, that material has to go somewhere when you put a screw into it. So running a smaller pilot hole through here, like you notice there's no holes along here, but when you put a screw into that material that the screw is moving has to go somewhere. So by doing the pilot hole, it helps remove some of that, even if it's a smaller hole than what the screw is it allows for that screw to sit in there and be nice and snug. Again, I've mentioned I've got a Maximum Reptiles enclosure that was their Eco line, which was a budget, and it was pretty well thought out. It feels real solid. This, I'm hoping when I get the lid on, it feels a lot more solid. Things I do like the fact that it's vented. I do like the fact it is budget friendly. It was like $279 for a PVC 4x2x2. The other thing I don't like is I ordered these shelves, but there's no hardware to attach them. So, or at least as of right now, I do have extra screws, but again, there's no pilot holes, so it's gonna be fun. I'm gonna have to drill the pilot holes myself, which is fine. I mean, I've got the tools for it, so it's not gonna be that difficult. I'll just not rush it. So, like I said, calling it a day. Gonna clean up, spend time with the wife before going to bed. I gotta get up early in the morning. So, until tomorrow. Back. This is day number 2. Now, keep in mind with this enclosure, I could have got it done all yesterday, but I kind of took my time. Wanted to do a step-by-step, but at the same time, point out things that I've noticed while building this enclosure. Well, today we've got the heat panel on, we've got the light. I want to end up cleaning this out and sealing it, and then install the shelves. So I'm gonna get the next couple steps done and I'll show you. All right, so the light's in, the top is on, the shelves are in. Luckily I have a little bit of experience doing maintenance and some construction, because it took me a little bit. Then I thought of the easiest way possible to put those in as level as possible. But all in all, there is a couple of things. They did have hardware, like I said, for the shelves. However, so I got to back that up, because I said earlier yesterday when I was putting it together that I couldn't find any hardware for the shelves. The hardware for the shelves is the exact same hardware as putting the enclosure together, but they don't tell you how much that you're going to need for the shelves. Like, there was no instructions when it came to the shelves. So I do think I ended up adding one extra screw to each shelf, which is fine. Luckily I had, it's just drywall screws, and luckily I had some that ended up working and was able to use those to finish off screwing down the top. Here it is. Got the UVB and the shelves. I did have to add some foam, like I said I was going to, in order to make up for that gap difference with the lip. But if you notice, there's that notch that I said that I was going to add. That way I got enough room that I could run the probe down and end up getting on to the shelf. I tend to put the probe right underneath the pad, or the heat panel. That way I know exactly what this spot will be. I do need to do a deep clean. As you can see, there's still some of the plastic particles, but it is sealed. I did end up turning this that up just because I thought it'd be a nice little way to have a little bit more enrichment, a little bit different from over there. So that was intentional. As you notice, here's my UVB. It's a 12-inch Arcadia. Whoa. This is a 12-inch Arcadia. The reasoning I went with that rather than going in all the way across is on the simple fact that they recommend that you do end up having a spot where your reptile can get out of the light. So I find that that's the best, I find that is a little bit easier to do, running a smaller light rather than running one all the way across. And I tried to get it as close to the heat panel where it won't, the heat won't be affecting the light. So we'll see how this does. I mean, it would be nice to have the basking area directly under the light, but I worked with what I was able to. But it does feel a little bit more solid now that it's all together, but we'll see how it does after a while. I plan on doing a review on this after I've used it for a bit and see how well I still like it, and if it's still worth the money.